Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at another unique item. This one is actually the new Sunder Charms. So before I show the Sunder Charm, which is a very fancy Sunder Charm here, let me explain how you actually get it. So in the new version of Reign of the Warlock, they changed the way that the Sunder Charms drop, and they drop primarily from the Heralds now. The Heralds are these like big badass monsters that come and try and kill you in the middle of your terror zone. They actually says like is hunting you, and they come and try and get you. Well, you have to kill them, and hopefully if you kill them, they will drop a Sunder Charm, which is actually a latent Sunder Charm. And these latent Sunder Charms are actually terrible. They have like negative 90% to your resistances. They work, but they're not exactly the best things in the world. There are crafting recipes, however, that you can use to enhance them and to make them better. And essentially, this is kind of like one of the gameplay loops for the new renewed Sunder Charms, which are right here. So you can see the renewed Sunder Charms. Now, the renewed Sunder Charms have the ability to roll between different modifiers, and there's actually a pool of modifiers that they can potentially pull from. The pool of modifiers is not always going to be the same every single time, and so they've kind of added a little bit of a actual like randomness to the way that the Sunder Charms work, which is pretty cool. I think I had a list of all the modifiers that the Sunder Charms could potentially roll. And it's basically magic find, gold find, like DR, mana, life, like various things like that. You could definitely get yourself an absolutely crazy renewed Sunder Charm, as you can see from the one that I have right here in my inventory. You do need specific things to craft them, though. So not just runes and not just gems, but you also need these, which are the shards for the creation of terror zones. And each individual one has a different recipe for each individual like crafting. And I know I have a doojank of all the recipes right here. I've been flooding the inventory with tons of stuff, though. I've been going over like the consumes, and I've been looking at like a lot of the skills. We're going to be going over like pretty much all the videos or all the skills. So I hope you'll join me for the skill videos. I'm also going over all the unique items as well, and this is one of them. Now, I will say that the new Sunder Charms are actually kind of hard to come by. And it looks like I have them right here, but for some reason the doojank doesn't work. This'll work. I'll just take a screenshot of the screenshot. That'll be great. That'll look amazing. That'll be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Here we go. Look at that beautiful screenshot of a screenshot. So these are the recipes for the specific renewed charms. The latent rotting fissure is perfect emerald co and western shard. The latent cold rupture is perfect sapphire, lum rune, and eastern worldstone shard. The latent crack of heavens has a foul rune in the southern shard. The latent flame is Io rune in the deep shard. The latent bone break is Pul rune in the northern shard, and the latent black cleft is the mal rune and the southern shard. Deep worldstone shard and the northern shard, which is the most expensive one for some reason, the magic one. The modifiers that can roll on these is kind of crazy. And not only can you get negative resistance on them, faster hit recovery, and all sorts of other things, the randomization of these is going to probably have some pretty lasting effects on the economy as well. Because if you roll one of these and it rolls really, really well, obviously if you've got yourself a charm that's going to be extremely valuable. Whereas if you roll a really crappy one, I mean, it might be like okay for self-use until you get yourself a better one. The latent charms, which are actually used to craft these renewed charms, are extremely hard to come by. There is actually some talk that they may actually update the drop rate on them. But to give you an example, our kinship has gotten together and we've been farming terror zones for the last like 3 days or so. We farmed the Terra Zones. We started doing them together in Players 8. We started using these Worldstone shards, which will actually, when you right-click on them, it will actually terrorize the entire zone. So, like, for instance, this one right here will terrorize all of Act 4. We did an entire game, even, where we terrorized from Act 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we cleared the entire game from the beginning to the end. And out of all of the stuff that we've done, we've only come across one latent charm, which we then immediately crafted into a renewed charm, which is this is what we ended up getting. As it is right now, unless they change it, I would highly suspect that getting a Sunder charm is going to be extremely difficult. Not only that, but building a character around a Sunder charm is going to be impossible because you're probably not going to be able to get one. With the amount of farming that we've done and only to get one, these things are going to be expensive and they're going to be hard to come by. Now, the actual renewed ones are probably going to be even more expensive, and that's kind of crazy as well. And as Joy just pointed out in the chat, we didn't even find it. So after all that effort and after all that hunting, we didn't even find the charm. We killed a Herald, and the Herald didn't drop it, and we had a Barbarian handy, and the Barbarian horked it and caused the latent charm to pop out. So we didn't even actually directly find the charm. We had to have a Barbarian there helping us hork to get it to fall. Which kind of reminds me of the original launch of Sunder Charms, where the Barbarians were finding like trillions of the dang things when the game first launched. We'll see what they do with the drop rate of the Sunder Charms, but for right now, my advice to you is plan out a build that does not require a Sunder Charm. Because if your build requires a Sunder Charm to work and you can't get one, well, guess you're just going to be up the creek without a paddle. Let me know what you guys think about these latent Sunder Charms, the renewed Sunder Charms, the stats on them, all the different ways that they can potentially roll. It's a really interesting, new addition to the pool, right? I mean, we already have Annie, we already have Torch, and we have a third buff thing. We've got the Sunder now as our third buff thing. So it's going to be kind of cool to have that in addition. As always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and keep watching.